Nicolas Maduro is a fugitive from American justice. The single most serious threat to this hemisphere, our very own neighborhood, and the United States, is from transnational terrorist and criminal groups.
That there is no war in the Caribbean. There is no international armed conflict, which is why it is absurd for the U.S. government to seek to justify its actions.
So you hear it there. UN Ambassador Mike Waltz and his Venezuelan counterpart tangling over U.S. actions against alleged narco-terrorists in the Caribbean. In the meantime, President Trump reportedly moving special ops aircraft and troops into the region. That, according to the Wall Street Journal. All of this happening as President Trump says the U.S. is pursuing a third oil tanker off the coast of Venezuela.
It's moving along, and we'll end up getting it. Yeah, we're actually pursuing it.
For more on this, let's bring in former National Security Council Senior Director Michael Allen. Michael, good afternoon to you. Great to see you on this Christmas Eve.
Same here, Bill.
So we're blowing up boats, we're seizing oil tankers, we're moving all sorts of U.S. military assets into the region. What do you see happening next?
I see President Trump just gradually ratcheting up the pressure on Nicolas Maduro. I think that the president's plan here is to set the theater with firepower and the United States Navy to back up his diplomacy. I think what Trump has probably said to Maduro directly when they spoke, and probably through intermediaries, is that you need to step down from being the president of Venezuela. You have abused the position that you have in the sense that the cartels have run wild across the hemisphere. Your economic mismanagement has led to untold suffering and migration, which has reached all the way to the United States. And President Trump is seized of this issue and ready to get some progress at this sort of cartel locus down in the middle of the country.
Yeah, President Trump says Maduro's days are numbered. Should he be looking over his shoulder right now?
He definitely should. You know, there was a few weeks ago, the president mentioned that we were going to start fighting the drug cartels with a new paradigm, like President Bush did with counterterrorism. It's no longer the case that we want to see this as strictly a law enforcement matter. We are putting the United States military in the driver's seat. We have the United States intelligence community collecting information about them, probably assisting in the targeting of the drug boats and military action that might come in the future. So it's very much the president saying, I'm going to treat this like we treated Al-Qaeda and terrorists after 9/11. We are ratcheting up the pressure because it is an assault on the national security of the United States of America.
So Democratic Congressman Adam Smith, I don't know if you heard this, he put out a statement essentially saying that narco-terrorism here isn't that big of a deal because they're just trafficking cocaine. It's not fentanyl. Take a listen. We'll get your thoughts on the other side.
This is a regime change operation. This is a war by any other name. But then the second thing is, are we really trying to reduce drug trafficking in the U.S.? Is blowing up a few dozen boats in the Caribbean going to have that impact? I don't know of any sensible person who understands this issue who says yes. It's not going to have much of an impact on that. And you witness the fact that most of these boats are going to Europe, the cargo that is in them is ultimately going to Western Africa or Europe. And also it's cocaine. It's not fentanyl, which is the most deadly drug.
Michael, we got about 30 seconds left here. Should we just be turning our head the other way because it's cocaine?
No, he's missing the point. It's not necessarily that it's cocaine. It's the proceeds that come from the illegal sale of it that finances a criminal empire that harms the United States in the sense of the cartels reaching as far northward as our territory. It's the migration, it's the human rights abuses, and it's the repercussions across the hemisphere that hurt the United States national security. And it's not the drug boats alone. The president is ratcheting up, as I said, up the ladder of escalation to try and give Maduro a decent way out of this. But if he doesn't take the off-ramp, I think President Trump's very serious about using military force against him.
And President Trump has said that he is considering land strikes against Venezuela. Would you see that as a significant step up that escalation ladder?
Oh, definitely. I think that's probably where he wants to head at some point early in the new year. I don't know that he wants to put troops on the ground, although you could perhaps put CIA or special operations officers there. But it would be a big step forward, and I think that's where he's headed. I think he wants to pressure Maduro to do the right thing.
All right, we'll see where it goes from here. Michael Allen, thank you for your time today. Merry Christmas to you and your family.
Merry Christmas. Thank you.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.